You've been praised for being kind, for being there, for never turning away when someone needed you. They said you had a golden heart. They said the world needed more people like you. So you believed it, that goodness was your shield, your strength, your purpose. But now you're tired, aren't you? Not just in your body, but in that hidden place inside, where no one sees how much you've given away just to be loved. There's a quiet sadness that comes from always saying yes, from answering every message, from showing up even when you're falling apart, from giving what no one bothered to return. You start to notice how easily people expect you to bend, how quickly they forget your effort, how your absence barely makes a ripple. It hurts because you thought your love could make you unforgettable. But the truth, the one no one warned you about, is that being endlessly available makes you invisible. Machiavelli once wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. He wasn't celebrating cruelty. He was pointing at something most hearts refuse to see, that love without respect is hollow, and kindness without boundaries becomes a form of self-betrayal. You've lived that, haven't you? You've mistaken being needed for being valued. You've mistaken patience for worth. But love, real love, doesn't demand that you disappear to prove it. There is a darkness in always being good, a quiet erosion of self that happens when your yes means nothing because it's expected, when you offer your time freely to those who wouldn't stay if you said no. That's what this reflection is about, not to make you colder, but to help you remember your warmth is sacred. You are not meant to be the fire that keeps everyone else alive while you burn yourself down. So tonight, I want to talk to you not as someone above you, but beside you. Someone who's also given too much, stayed too long, and learned that compassion without strength becomes a cage. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about remembering who you were before the world taught you that love must hurt to matter. If you've ever felt unseen in your own kindness, stay. Let's walk through this together. And if this touches something deep in you, gently share it so it can reach someone else who's silently breaking. Subscribe, not just to this space, but to your own healing, to your own rebirth. There comes a moment when you realize that people don't love you the way you love them. Not because they're cruel, but because they see you differently. To them, you're the safe one, the constant, the one who will understand, forgive, and wait. You've become the harbor they dock in when storms hit, but they sail away when the sky clears. And you tell yourself it's fine. You tell yourself this is what love means. But deep down, you feel the ache of being everyone's shelter, yet no one's home. You've spent years polishing your softness, believing it was your greatest strength. But here's the truth. The world doesn't protect the gentle. It consumes them. It takes from them until they begin to question whether their giving has any meaning at all. You start to wonder if maybe you've misunderstood what it means to be good. You thought being good was about saying yes, but real goodness sometimes means saying no, especially when saying yes would destroy you. Machiavelli warned about the illusion of goodness. He saw how easily men cloaked their desires in virtue, how kindness could become a mask used by those too afraid to claim their power. And isn't that what we do? We hide behind being nice, because the world punished us the moment we showed anger. We learned that silence keeps us safe, that agreeing keeps the peace, that to be loved we must first disappear. But tell me, how long can a heart survive being invisible? You have to understand something. Your light was never meant to be a service. It was meant to be a force. To be both lion and fox, strong enough to set boundaries, wise enough to know when to stay silent. The lion protects, the fox observes. Together, they create balance. You've been the lamb for too long, thinking the wolves would spare you because your intentions were pure. But the wolves don't care about purity. They respect presence, not sacrifice. There's a beauty in restraint, in saying, I won't answer this time, not out of spite, but out of respect for yourself, for your peace. You begin to realize that you teach people how to treat you, not through your words, but through your silence. Every time you rush to be available, you tell the world that your time is free, your heart is open, and your limits are negotiable. And then you wonder why they take without asking. To reclaim your power, you must become unpredictable again. Not in cruelty, but in mystery. Don't let them always know you'll answer. Don't let them always assume you'll stay. People value what they can lose. And when you remember that, you start to shift the energy around you. You start to rise quietly, not louder, but clearer. The moment you stop explaining your worth is the moment people begin to feel it. That's when they start looking for you, realizing that your absence carries a weight your presence once hid. It's strange, isn't it? How respect begins where overgiving ends. You didn't notice when it started the slow fading of your own needs. It began with small things. Staying up late to comfort someone, even when you were breaking inside. Agreeing to meet, even when your body begged for rest. Smiling through exhaustion because you didn't want to seem unkind. And each time you did, something inside you whispered, "It's fine. They'll see your heart." But they didn't. They only saw what they could take. And that's the hidden cruelty of being endlessly available. You think your goodness will awaken theirs, but instead, it numbs them. It teaches them that your love has no cost, that your presence is guaranteed. And people, even the ones who love you, grow careless with what they don't have to earn. It's not malice, it's human nature. Machiavelli understood that. He knew that affection fades without consequence, that comfort breeds forgetfulness. He wasn't saying to be feared, he was saying to be felt. To let your absence remind them that your presence was never ordinary. You have to stop saving people who would watch you drown. You have to stop giving explanations to those who question your silence but never your suffering. You owe no one constant access to your soul. The ones meant for you will honor the distance. They will step back, not vanish. They will understand that your time is sacred, your energy precious. They will not confuse your boundaries with rejection. They will see your restraint as love, the kind that sustains instead of destroys. When you begin to reclaim yourself, it feels wrong at first. You'll feel guilt, like a ghost whispering. You're being selfish. You'll feel the urge to explain, to apologize, to soften the edge of your truth. But stay still. The guilt is not truth. It's conditioning. It's the echo of a world that taught you that being selfless is the highest virtue. But real virtue, the kind that keeps your heart alive, begins with courage. Courage to say no more. Courage to let people feel the loss of your constant yes. And then something miraculous happens. The world that once drained you begins to adjust. People who only wanted your light fade into the shadows, while those who see your soul stay. You'll notice the silence no longer feels empty. It feels clean. You begin to hear your own voice again, small but steady, saying, "I'm still here. I've just been buried under everyone else's needs." There is no cruelty in self-respect. There is only truth, the kind that restores what years of overgiving have stolen. You don't have to harden to protect yourself. You only need to stop offering your softness to those who haven't earned it. And maybe, just maybe, this is what Machiavelli meant all along. That love without power is fragility, and power without love is emptiness. You were never meant to choose between them. You were meant to become both gentle in heart, unshakable in spirit. There will come a night when you sit in the quiet and realize no one is asking for anything. No messages, no calls, no one needing your comfort, your advice, your light. And it will terrify you at first, that silence. Because you've built your worth around being needed, around the noise of everyone else's demands. But listen closely. That silence is not rejection. It's space. It's your life finally breathing again after years of suffocation. You might reach for your phone, tempted to send the first message, to reopen the door you just closed. But stop. Let the emptiness teach you. Let it show you how much of your identity was built on service, not presence. You weren't living, you were managing everyone's storms, forgetting that you too had a sky that needed clearing. And when the loneliness comes because it will, don't run from it. It's not punishment, it's your rebirth. In that stillness, you begin to remember things. The sound of your own laughter, the dreams you set aside to make room for others, the parts of you that used to glow before you started dimming yourself, for the comfort of those who feared your fire. You'll remember what it feels like to choose yourself not out of defiance, but out of devotion, to say, I deserve to rest. I deserve peace. I deserve reciprocity. The truth is, people-pleasing isn't love. It's fear disguised as kindness. Fear of loss. Fear of disapproval. Fear of being abandoned. You've built entire relationships on the hope that if you gave enough, they'd finally see your worth. But worth doesn't come from exhaustion. It comes from discernment, from knowing when to give and when to walk away. Machiavelli would have called it realism, seeing people as they are, not as you wish them to be. But you don't need to read philosophy to feel this truth. You've lived it. You've seen how some smile when you bend, and how few reach out when you break. You've seen how love can turn into expectation, and how gratitude fades the moment your giving stops. And yet, here you are, still capable of compassion, still soft despite it all. That's not weakness. That's grace. Grace isn't about being endlessly kind. It's about being rooted in truth. It's standing tall when others try to shape you into something smaller, quieter, more convenient. It's saying, I love you, but I love myself too. It's realizing that you can't pour from an empty soul, and no amount of people to save will ever save you from yourself. One day, someone will look at you and say, you've changed. And you'll smile softly because you'll know the truth. You didn't change. You just stopped shrinking. You stopped performing softness for people who mistook it for weakness. You learned that peace doesn't mean pleasing everyone. It means protecting what makes you whole. And as you rise into this version of yourself, steady, discerning, unafraid, you'll begin to attract differently. Those who valued your availability will fall away. Those who value your essence will stay. You'll no longer chase love. You'll embody it fiercely, quietly, fully. There's something sacred about the moment you stop begging to be understood. When you no longer twist yourself into someone else's language just to be heard, you realize you were never meant to convince anyone of your worth, only to remember it. That realization doesn't arrive like lightning. It comes softly, like morning light through tired blinds, a quiet knowing that says, I don't have to keep proving myself to people who only see my use. For so long, you mistook peace for approval. You thought harmony meant silence, even when your silence was a slow death. You let things slide, the dismissive tone, the forgotten apologies, the endless taking because confrontation felt too heavy, too risky. You told yourself it wasn't worth the trouble, but deep down, you knew it was more than trouble you were avoiding. You were avoiding truth. Because truth threatens illusion, and illusion was where you built your safety. Machiavelli said that men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful, not because all humans are cruel, but because comfort changes how we value things. When something or someone is always within reach, we forget its worth, and that's why the constant giver is rarely remembered. Familiarity breeds invisibility. You gave so much for so long that they forgot to see you. They only saw what you gave. But you can't keep living as a ghost in your own life. You can't keep being the background to everyone else's story. You deserve to stand in your own light, not as a savior, but as a sovereign being. That means saying no, not from bitterness, but from clarity. That means walking away, not in anger, but in peace. That means loving yourself enough to disappoint others. Because the truth is, if your love requires self-erasure, it isn't love, it's servitude. When you start honoring your limits, people will test you. They'll say you've changed, that you've become cold, distant, difficult. But don't let their discomfort confuse you. You are not cold. You are clear. You are not distant. You are discerning. You are not difficult. You are done betraying yourself to make others comfortable. The world doesn't need another person who bleeds just to be called kind. It needs someone who knows the worth of their own blood. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, I'm not answering tonight. Sometimes it means deleting a message before you send it, trusting that silence can be love too. Love for yourself. Love for the quiet. Love for the peace that grows when you stop needing to be everything for everyone. And in that quiet, something unexpected happens. People begin to respect you. Not because you demanded it, but because you finally stopped giving it away. Respect isn't earned through effort. It's revealed through boundaries. The ones who stay will learn the rhythm of your yes and no. They'll see that your light doesn't flicker for attention, it glows from within, steady, whole. You'll begin to understand what Machiavelli meant when he said fortune favors the bold. It doesn't mean recklessness. It means courage. The courage to choose yourself in a world that profits from your self-doubt. The courage to risk being misunderstood in exchange for being free. The courage to love without losing yourself. And maybe that's the deepest truth of all. Self-respect is not the opposite of love. It's the foundation of it. And so, you begin to walk differently. Not faster, not with pride, just lighter. As if every step carries the weight of a quiet decision. I will no longer abandon myself to keep others comfortable. It's not rebellion, it's return. You start showing up to your life the way you always showed up for others, present, patient, devoted. There's a kind of beauty in solitude when it's chosen, not forced. You start to notice details you used to rush past the stillness of morning. The warmth of your own breath. The way sunlight gently touches the things it loves. You realize that peace was never hiding. You were just too busy filling silence with noise. Too busy proving you were worth loving to notice you already were. And as you reclaim your time, your energy, your heart, something subtle but profound shifts. People can feel it, that invisible change in the way you carry yourself. The old patterns no longer fit. You no longer chase closure. You create it. You no longer crave validation. You embody it. You no longer confuse love with obligation. You begin to understand Machiavelli in a new way, not as a man obsessed with power, but as a man who saw how fragile kindness becomes without strength. He wasn't teaching cruelty. He was warning against naivete. Because when you believe everyone has your heart, you forget that some will see it as an opportunity, not a gift. It's not cynicism to see people clearly. It's clarity. And clarity, though it hurts, is a form of mercy. You start seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, and somehow, that makes your love purer. You stop giving to be loved. You give because it's who you are. You stop fearing rejection because you no longer need to belong everywhere. You stop apologizing for your boundaries because they are the lines that define your peace. The truth is, your heart was never meant to be open to everyone. It's a sacred space, not a public garden. Only those who arrive with gentleness deserve to stay. You learn to guard it not with walls, but with discernment. To say, I love you, but I will not lose myself for you. That's not selfishness. That's wisdom. When you stop trying to be good all the time, you make space to be whole. And being whole means embracing the parts of you you've hidden, the anger, the hurt, the desire to be seen. You begin to see that even those emotions are not your enemies. They're messengers, telling you where your boundaries were crossed and where your truth was silenced. You find yourself no longer needing to prove your kindness. It's there, steady, unwavering, but now it's rooted in self-respect. You can love deeply and still walk away. You can forgive without reopening the door. You can care without carrying. And perhaps that's what being both lion and fox truly means. The lion roars when truth demands voice. The fox waits in stillness, choosing when to act. You become both fierce and wise, soft and strong. You are no longer afraid of being misunderstood, because peace is louder than explanation. And maybe that's the final lesson Machiavelli was whispering all along, that love without truth is illusion, and truth without love is cruelty. But when they meet, they create something powerful, dignity. And dignity is the kind of power that no one can take from you. So if you're listening to this right now, tired, gentle, and quietly aching, know this: your worth isn't measured by how much you give, but by how deeply you honor what's already inside you. You don't have to be available to everyone. You only have to be loyal to yourself. Take a breath. Let the silence hold you. And if these words have touched you, share them, not for numbers, but for connection. Someone out there needs to remember their own strength, just like you did tonight. Subscribe, not for content, but for reminders, gentle truths that pull you back to yourself. Thank you for being here. Stay kind, stay clear, stay bold.